Do you guys remember OK Boomer taking over the internet a couple years ago? Well, now we have the Gen Z stare. Old heads are saying that every interaction they have with someone who's in Gen Z, especially in retail settings, leads to this rude, no one is home stare. And a part of me is like, dude, what the fuck do you guys expect? The 19-year-old barista at Starbucks doesn't really give a shit about how your day is going, right? What do you expect her to start asking you about your feelings and shit? But at the same time, that stare, I know that stare. I've done that stare, actually. And before I get into the actual reason behind it, we got to get the obvious shit out of the way first, right? Yeah, poor social skills play a part in this. Between, the pandemic and just growing up spending way too much time on the internet, some kids could definitely use a few more reps socially. If you spend your entire day online, it makes sense that when you get into the real world, you're starting to botch those interactions, right? Because real life is obviously going to be different. That phone doesn't require anything from you. You're just sitting there reacting to shit. It's a one-way street. But I'm someone who says, how's it going, to everyone I see. It's like my go-to icebreaker. The elevator, whatever situation, I'm just like, hey, how's it going? These old heads, the same ones talking about this Gen Z stare, aren't exactly balls of conversational joy most of the time themselves, right? Being friendly is not a generational trait. So there's old people that are dickheads, there's young people that are dickheads. To paint the entirety of Gen Z as rude is just stupid and wrong. The next super obvious piece of this puzzle, a lot of young people are just in dog shit situations right now. No one is doing this generation any favors. Between the economy, the job market, the pandemic that happened at the worst possible time, a lot of people are kind of hopeless and are just checked out. They don't want to do the small talk. And to be honest, can you really blame them? Shit is fucking spooky out here for a lot of people, right? They're focused on getting through their shifts, not pretending to care about some random 50-year-old coworker's day and how he's doing, right? While that's not my philosophy, I understand it. If you feel like society has given up on you, it's like, why wouldn't you give up on society? I think that's playing a role here as well. But now on to what I actually think is causing this. Dissociation. A lot of Gen Z has a ton of fucking problems. You combine that with the stress of inhaling information 24/7, and quickly you lose control over your own thoughts. That's when that soulless stare comes out. This isn't new. This has been around for a while, and I think most of Gen Z struggles with this without even realizing it. And I used to personally struggle with it all the time. It fucking sucks, dude. It's not being rude. It's not thinking that you're better than someone, which is how these old heads are perceiving it, by the way, right? No, it's just being somewhere else mentally. When you're in this headspace, nothing feels real. You're just going through the motions, right? Something good can happen, something bad can happen. It's all the same shit to you. It just feels like nothing. So, Karen saying, hey, how are you today? While you're at work, that might not even clock to you. That might as well be a fucking cutscene that you skipped. When you're in this headspace, you can be somewhere, whether that's at work or at a party, but you're not actually there. You're thinking about some shit you got to do tomorrow or something you saw on your phone a couple hours ago, and this shit sucks. But from the outside looking in, you know what it looks like? A soulless stare. You know how they say actions speak louder than words? Well, neither are doing much talking when you're in this headspace. And like I said, from this whole trend, you can see older people are interpreting this as some kind of rude, judgmental behavior, when it's more like an internal problem that needs to be fixed. I'm happy to say I don't zone out anymore. Very rarely will I be in this soulless stare that I used to struggle with, right? This Gen Z stare. We can't control a lot of shit in our external, the economy, the government, the fucking hiding, the Epstein files and shit like that. That's a perfect example of there's things happening that are just way above our heads. But what we can do is take back control of our internal, of our thoughts. So you plug into the present. So the next time Gary, your 50-year-old coworker, asks, hey, how's it going? You can respond with, good, Gary. It's actually going fucking great. How are you? Instead of the soulless stare because you didn't even hear him, right? And as someone who is in this dissociative state for a minute, for years, life is so much better when you're able to snap back into reality. And to do that, the first thing you got to do is give up control. The present moment is really the only thing in life that you have control over. Everything else, no. The past already fucking happened. And the future that you're so anxious about will eventually be the present, so you can just worry about it then, right? There's no point in bugging out about either. And that's what our brains naturally do. That's a big part of this dissociating, is like going into the past and thinking about the future. So next time you're having a shit day or even a shit week, ask yourself, what problems do I have right now, this exact second? Not in a couple hours, not tomorrow, not some shit I did yesterday that's not sitting right. What problem do I have right now? And I bet you the answer is none. You have zero problems. You're alive, you're in the moment, you're breathing. There's no danger, right? So realizing this was huge for me, and what helped with this kind of mindfulness was meditating. And meditating is not just for hippies, dude. There's ways to do it the same way you go to the gym. It's like a consistent thing. You build upon it. It starts to reverse the damage that all this content and social media and just growing up when we did. It'll start to reverse that, and you'll start to feel it if you can just consistently do it every single day. And next, what really helped me was like, go outside, dude. Like, any chance you can, be around people. Don't just blast music or a podcast when you're walking around either. Just walk around. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to chop it up with you. There's a bunch of side quests out there, basically, right? It's easy to forget with the internet that there's a whole fucking world out there that doesn't involve any of this bullshit, and it's awesome. These boomers are in that world, so they're looking at these Gen Z kids who are like completely zoned out, thinking about some internet bullshit probably, and they just don't understand it. So next time, shit doesn't feel real, or like you just feel like shit, you can't control your thoughts, like just go outside, bro. It's literally that simple. That'll always help. And my last point might be a little controversial, honestly. When I was growing up, they told us weed was harmless, and I fucking believed it, right? But now I can say, if you're someone who struggles with being in the present moment, zoning out all the time, you're just kind of going through the motions, smoking weed all the time is not going to help you. I promise you that. Obviously, everyone's situation is different. But for me, someone who thought it was like this miracle drug for a huge portion of my life, it was night and day when I stopped like that daily use and that reliance on it, right? I don't think it's a coincidence that this Gen Z stare, this dissociation is becoming a bigger and bigger problem at the same time that weed legalization finally got passed and everyone's smacked all the time. There's dispensaries on every block. Like, I get for some people it helps, but you got to just look at it what it is. It's something that alters your reality, puts you somewhere else. Even if it's, low key, that's what it's doing. So, it's not the cause, but it's for sure not helping, and it really made my problems with kind of dissociation way worse. So that's why I'm including it here. But yeah, being present is a skill that none of us were born with, right? And no shit, a lot of us struggle with it. Like, our upbringing coincided with the internet, a ton of crazy shit. The pandemic, like I said, made shit even worse. So that soulless Gen Z stare is a product of that. It's a product of not being present. And it's honestly crazy that these old heads are just now realizing it. I mean, this has probably been going on for, who knows, past 6-7 years, I'd say. But now they've noticed it, and now they're misinterpreting it. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think about this whole Gen Z stare thing. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
So how'd I find myself in this place today? Quiet thoughts in my head that won't fade away.